What's up guys? Today we're gonna walk through a beat. It's a trap kind of trip hop beat that I created. So I'm gonna talk about everything from why I created this beat, where the inspiration came from, the sounds I used, the plugins, and how I constructed the entire beat till the end. If you're new around here, I create videos about music production and music gadgets. So hit that subscribe button. And if you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button as well. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. All right, let's get started. Everything I'm doing here is being done in Ableton, but if you have another DAW, I'm using some plugins that you could actually purchase for your DAW. I'm using samples as well. If you are an Ableton user, I'm going to include a link to this whole project. All right, right now you're looking at the session view in Ableton, and for those of you who use any other DAW, digital audio workstation, you would probably not very familiar with this view, but this is a really great view to just put out some ideas and see how they work together. I did actually do the full construction of the song in the traditional view, so we'll get to that in a second. So the inspiration for this beat came originally from one sample that came out of a Loopmasters sample library. These days I do get most of my samples from splice.com, but Loopmasters has some really great samples as well. So it started with this pad sound. That's actually the sound that I started with, but I did like how it's a little bit gritty, and so what I did is I just put it into the simpler in Ableton, sliced it up. Once it sliced it into transients, I was able to play it. Once I had that sound, I started building off of that. I did find a bass line, which has come from another sample that I used just straight as it is. The bass line sounds like this. So the bass line along with the pad sounds like. So once I had the pad and the bass line, I need something in a little higher frequency. So I wanted to add this bell sound, and this came also from a sample. This is what the bell sample sounds like by itself. I wanted to make this a trap beat, so I came up with my own drum sequence, and here's what that looks like. And I used the Abyss kit in Ableton. So I have the kick, snare, I have, no, not that, percussion block, and the hi-hat short slice. All together, it sounds like. All right, so that sounds pretty good as a beat already. I was pretty happy with that, but we need something else interesting in there. I wanted to get something that gives a little bit of a vocal sound without actually being vocals, and I didn't really want to record them myself either. So I used this really awesome plugin called Exhale. It's by Output. This is Exhale. It's a contact instrument, so of course you can use this in your DAW. Output plugins are not that cheap, but they are super high quality, and this is one of my favorites. This actually takes little vocal snippets or vocal slices and samples and lets you play it on a keyboard, and the sound results are just spectacular. I also knew I would need some sort of a riser, and I just wanted a very simple reverse cymbal riser, and so I used another instrument by Output called Rev. It's instrument sounds and different sounds in reverse, and it is so inspiring. The sounds are just awesome. So you'll hear the sound that I used here. Let's solo that, and you can listen to that sound. All right, so that's a good basic beat. And I'm going to show you how I laid this out. So now we're in arrangement view. This is the traditional view that you will see in any DAW. And here's what it sounds like put together. Did you hear what happened just now? You heard some strings come in, and I wanted to put some strings in here, and I didn't want to play them. I do enjoy arranging strings and playing strings for my song, but this time I wanted to try something really different. So I listened to a few songs by Beethoven that were performed with string quartets or string or a symphony, and I picked out one that I felt would kind of sound good in this song. So here's what those strings sound like straight from the Beethoven song. Then I sliced it up so that I could use it in this song. The resulting slices sound like this. That's it. So that's what I use as those string samples in this part of the song. So here's what it sounds like together with the whole beat. Okay, so those are all the instruments that I layered together to create this beat, but it's more than just those instruments playing. I did actually insert some plugins on top of all of these, and I just want to run through those really quick. On the drums, I only have one plugin. It's the glue compressor, and that just helps the drums just kind of stay nice and tight and together and keep that sound togetherness in there. Next up, on the bass, I added a compressor just to keep the sound even. On the pad that you heard before, I actually added overdrive to give it even more of a gritty feel, and also the Izotope vinyl plugin, which makes things sound like they're playing on vinyl, old vinyl if you really wanted to. I'll let you hear what it sounds like without it. And with it, with the overdrive and vinyl, not a huge difference, but there's some subtleties in there that just make it sound more interesting. All right, so for the bells, I EQ'd the bells to get rid of some of the low end, very minor, very, very minor changes. All right, so here's the exhale plugin where you have those vocal type sounds. The first time you hear those vocal sounds, I'm not applying any other effects to it. In the exhale plugin, you can do things like set the volume pan, filter, phase, phaser, and saturate, even reverb, and everything is in here. For a variation, in the third time these vocals come in, I used Filter Freak by Soundtoys. Filter Freak does automatic filters on any sound that you put into it. I'm using the double downer preset, so you've heard the vocal sounds. Now if we turn it on in the second verse, you'll hear how they change. All right, so the string sample from the Beethoven song. So to the sample, I EQ'd it to get rid of the low end because I really want the low end from the rest of the instruments and the bass line and the kick to really be the focus and not some of the low end in this string sample. So I just kept the high end of the strings, and I also added some Izotope vinyl to it to give it a little bit of a more gritty, old, worn sound to it. So without those two, here's what it sounds like. EQ'd, and with the vinyl. All right, on the master track, you see a bunch of things here that I didn't actually activate. They're just there on the master track. I'm not really using them. What I use is the Greg Wells Mixcentric plugin, which just gives a nice boost and clarity to the mix. And I also used Soundtoys Decapitator plugin because I wanted a little bit of drive. I really like the Soundtoys plugins because they just add a little something, a little special magic sauce. And usually with the Decapitator, I just add a little bit of drive in there. It just makes it sound fuller And it does this so much better than other plugins that add drive that tend to distort the sound. The last thing you see here is an analyzer just so I can see what my levels look like. It doesn't really change the sound. So let's listen to the whole thing straight through. There you go. Like I said, I've got the full Ableton project linked down below. If you like this video, hit that like button and don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well. You guys keep making the music that you love, and I will see you guys later.